Hello, everyone, and welcome to the second IELTS class of today of March 25th. We're doing listening. Just as we get going here, let's check the video and audio just to make sure that it is working. So, as I'm going to get into the class here, can somebody let me know, is the video okay? Is the audio okay? Can you see me? Can you hear me? Can you see the board? Okay, good. Clear audio, clear video, according to Monica. Everybody else is experiencing good connection. Everything is okay. Great. So it sounds like for most people, everything is okay. So if you are having difficulty on your end, then please turn up the sound. You don't see me very clearly because I'm backlit. There's a short throw projector that's backlighting me. So that's why I'm not as bright, but I'm not the important part. The board is what's important. So as long as you can hear me, that's what's important. And as long as you can see the board. I'd love to show you my beautiful mug, but it's not so important. All right, so again, IELTS listening example and strategy number 2. The first lesson was 2 hours ago, so if you missed the first lesson, you can check it out on the channel. You can subscribe to the channel. There's 200 videos on this channel. Some of them are pre-recorded lessons. There you'll actually be able to see me as well. And there are lots of live streamed lessons also. So subscribe to the channel, watch those videos, make sure to practice at home, improve your scores. Again, always the sales pitch, because I do really believe that those students who pay the few dollars and join our website definitely improve their IELTS score. And IELTS is a very expensive test, so it's worth paying a few dollars to get a lot and not have to sit the IELTS exam again. In fact, guys and girls, I'm really not pushing this from a business perspective, but I'm surprised how many students don't want to spend any money on studying IELTS from good materials, but they are willing to do the test 2 or 3 times, which is close to 300 US dollars each time. I really do suggest finding materials that work for you and spending a few dollars to improve. And honestly, I don't even care if it's our materials or not. If you find some other materials that you think are better, great. But either way, it's good to spend a few dollars so that you don't have to sit the IELTS exam 2-3 times. It's not only really expensive, but it's painful. So spend a little, study hard, sit the IELTS 1 or maximum 2 times, okay? Our materials come from aehelp.com for academic IELTS and gieltshelp.com for general IELTS. And with this live class, you get this coupon live 20, LIVE 20 for a 20% discount. All right, so again, we're focusing on listening. Use Super Chat beside the emoji. Some countries have it, some countries don't. If you have a really important question or you really like the lesson and you want to support us, use that Super Chat button. If you have a really important question and you use Super Chat, it creates a sticky pin with the text so I can see your question longer and brighter. One of the new features that we are offering with our products is live IELTS speaking interviews through Skype. If you want to know more about that, please send me an email if you have questions with adrian@aehelp.com. My name is Adrian. I am from Canada. Right now, I am in Europe, in beautiful Budapest. Hi, Mohammed and Riyadh, and everybody else from around the world. Yes, it is a Canadian accent. That's right. All right, so just a little bit of review here from the earlier class. Begin studying for IELTS 90 days before the exam. That will give you a good chance to really improve your band scores. Focus on your areas of weakness. Learn 3 to 5 new words each day. So if you have the chance and you study 90 days before IELTS, let's say you learn an average of 4 new words each day. That's 360 new words by the time you get to IELTS. That's great. 360 new words is very, very good. Thanks for asking about my leg, Monica. For those of you who don't know, I broke my leg at the end of January playing hockey. In fact, one of my longtime friends hit me from behind. It wasn't on purpose. It was part of the game, and my left leg broke. The bone is healed now. It's still a bit sore, but it's getting better. Thank you, Monica, for asking. And Manushi, thank you for asking about my leg. I appreciate your concern. I really do. It's kind. It's very human of you. All right, so again, learning new words each day. Try to learn 3 to 5. Write these down. You should use paper and pencil. I know we live in the digital world, but using paper pencil in a small notebook that fits into your back pocket that you can take with you is still more effective. There's just something magical about using your hand to write words instead of your thumbs to type them. So I do definitely recommend to my students to use the traditional paper pencil method for vocabulary learning, and make sure it's a small little book, not a huge book that you just put on your shelf, but a small little notebook that you can keep with you and review anywhere, anytime. All right, so we are going to be using our website later. I'll show you that. And this is again a review from earlier class today. The class that we had 2 hours ago, a student suggested the word exhaust, which means tired or drained of. And these are the 3 steps to good vocabulary learning. So always the second class in the day is a little bit faster. It's a little bit higher level for the advanced students. But if you have questions, if I'm going too quickly, if you don't understand what I'm saying, please ask. I don't want to lose you. Okay, so ask me. Thanks for your wishes, Deepak. I appreciate that. All right, so 3 important steps in vocabulary learning. Of course, you're writing these down. The first step is always choose the word that's new, define the word, okay? Give all of the definitions, not just one. So the earlier word was exhaust. The definition is tired, drained of. Also, synonym for the noun smoke that's coming out of the back of a car, especially. And I said to students, a good way to think about it is to use up all of a resource, like exhausting the water supply near the town, okay? So the second step for this is put the word into a sentence. Make it interesting. That's number 1, okay? You got to make it interesting because it's important that you learn the word so that you don't just understand, but you also use that word. And for that, you need to follow these steps. Create a sentence where you make it interesting. You include yourself or someone you know. The reason for this is that you remember the word much longer and much more effectively, and then make it a complex or compound sentence. So there are 3 types of conjunctions that we use in the English language, which make sentences compound or complex. What are they? Guys and girls, what are the 3 complex compound types of conjunctions? This is a review for some students who watch regularly. Can you tell me, please? So what are the 3 types? Yep, correlative, that's 1. What are the other 2? Yep, correlative includes words like while, or sorry, that's not correlative. Yep, so there's coordinating or coordinative, that's right. So correlative, coordinative, and subordinating, that's right. So those are the 3 types of conjunctions. Conjunctions basically means to join sentence elements together, okay? Conjoin, co-together, join means link up. So to link up together, conjunction, okay? 3 types in the English language: coordinating, subordinating, and correlative. Know all 3 of these for IELTS. If you want to get a score that's higher than 6, you have to know all 3 of these, all right? So here is the example sentence. We are preparing for the listening exam. That's right, Bavgari. We will be getting there. I'm just focusing on learning vocabulary, and of course, learning vocabulary for listening is very important. So this was the sentence that we took earlier. I was exhausted after chasing 3 green dragons all day with my silver sword. What is the conjunction in this example sentence? So I was exhausted after chasing 3 green dragons all day with my silver sword. We use the word exhausted. It's interesting. I included myself, and it is a complex sentence. What's the conjunction? That's right, Mohammed Wahab. The conjunction is after. What type of conjunction is after? Bonus point. For those of you who are grammar buffs and want to know, excellent score, Manushi. 7.5 is fantastic. I'm very proud of you. I hope you used some of those skills that I was teaching you. So what type of a conjunction exactly is the word after? It's not coordinating. Coordinating is and, yet, nor, but, so, for, okay, fanboys. So it's not coordinating. What is it? It's not correlative. Correlative is paired words like not only, but also. It's a time conjunction. What type of a time conjunction is it? It's a subordinative. That's right. It's a subordinating conjunction of time. Now, I know it might seem irrelevant to know the technical aspects of grammar, like after is a subordinating conjunction of time, but for conjunctions, it actually is important. You should know the technical aspects of conjunctions, okay? To get a high IELTS score, you need to know that. All right, so this is the example sentence, and then of course the final third step in learning effective vocabulary is 3 or 4 days after you write your example sentence, you need to paraphrase it. So remember that little book, vocabulary book that I was telling you about that you should have in your pocket. When you're on the bus or you're sitting at school or in the library, you're looking at the ceiling, you've played all of your little thumb games on the phone, and you're getting bored now, then take out your little notebook. Just kidding, guys. I don't like being cynical. But seriously, take out your little notebook and your little vocabulary book. Look at the example sentences and words that you wrote 3 days before, and then paraphrase the sentence. So always leave a couple lines. Leave a few lines after your example sentence so that 3 or 4 days later you can write a nice paraphrase for your original sentence. That will crystallize the vocabulary in your mind, and it will give you the power to use that vocabulary effectively in your speaking and writing. Okay, that's the goal here. If you can use vocabulary in speaking and in writing, then you will definitely be able to understand the vocabulary when you hear it or when you read it. Good job, guys, for recognizing that after is a subordinating conjunction of time. All right, guys and girls, how's the speed? Is it too fast? Is it okay? I don't want to be too intense. Again, I do want to gear this class towards upper intermediate level students. All right, it looks like you guys are enjoying this speed, so I'll keep it at this speed. All right, good. So here we have the paraphrase sentence. So after keeping up with 3 green beasts or monsters, as one student said, after keeping up with 3 green monsters the whole day, holding my silver saber, I got exhausted. Okay, so that sentence is a paraphrase of the original. I was exhausted after chasing 3 green dragons all day with my silver sword. All right. So now, without further ado here, let's choose a word for this class and then do the same thing. So nice and quickly, suggest some vocabulary for me and I'll pick one out to do an example sentence. And again, you can find lots of vocabulary on our website at aehelp.com. We have a special blog that gives you 300 of the most common words in English. Okay, Hike says vulnerable. I think I did vulnerable like back in January or something like that. Precautious, I think is what you're writing there. I don't know if that's the word. Sustainable, we've done. Exuberant. Hegel, I remember, was the word from yesterday's class, so you can check that out. Skeptical. Endeavor is a good one. Autonomous. Okay, let's take endeavor, because endeavor is something that's quite common, and many students don't know the meaning of it. So let's take endeavor. Okay, what is the definition of endeavor, and what part of language is it? Yeah, there's a lot of good words there, guys and girls. I'm sorry I can't take all of them, obviously. Flabbergast or flabbergasted is a good one as well. When you're watching these, you can write them out and then you can try them. Impediment is okay. It's nice high-level vocabulary as well. Let's take endeavor, because endeavor is common, especially in academic use or higher English use, and a lot of students don't know the meaning of endeavor. So can somebody give me the meaning of endeavor? It's kind of like strive and persevere, Hadil, but it's not an exact definition. It depends what form of the language is it. Okay, so you're saying it's effort. Effort is a good way to say it. What's the part of language? So is it a verb? Is it a noun? Is it an adjective? I like that definition, Hadil. Work hard to do something. Now, of course, as many of you know, different dictionaries give you different definitions. This is why it is definitely good to ask some of these words from native speakers of how it's used. Okay? Indeed, it is a noun. It's not a verb. It's a noun. So we most commonly use this as a noun. So it's an effort. It's working hard for achievement. Here is just a leading example. This is not the right example, but this endeavor. Okay, so that's how we would often start a sentence with this word. All right. We will start section 3 shortly after this, Shubham. So once we're done this word and we're done dissecting this word and writing down a good example, then we'll start looking at section 3 materials, okay? All right, so can somebody give me an example sentence with endeavor, which is interesting, it includes you or someone you know, and it is complex or compound. Can somebody give me a word with endeavor? Think about endeavor as an effort, a work effort. It's often used to reflect a work effort. Most commonly used as a noun, Amar. I know that in some rare cases we use it as a verb, but it's most commonly used as a noun, as a subject noun. So there, Syed, you said, I tried to endeavor for the final exams. I endeavor for IELTS. We generally do not use the word as a verb. Okay? That's why I want to give you where you will most likely see it. I tried all of my endeavors to pass the test, but it was too difficult. No, Ashraf. The correct sentence there would be, my endeavors are to pass the test, but it was too difficult. Or my endeavor is to pass the test, but it was too difficult. Try and endeavor are awkward together because you don't try, you do the endeavor. Again, we don't use it as a verb, guys. In most cases, we use it as a noun. Okay, I'll give you an example sentence. I can see some of you are struggling with this. Okay, and most of you are trying to use it as a verb. Again, you will see it as a noun most of the time. So, my endeavor to conquer the Mount Everest failed because of I was going to say bad weather, but let's be more specific. Because of a blizzard, so I had to return to base camp. Let's do that. So my endeavor to conquer Mount Everest failed because of a blizzard, so I had to return to base camp. So that would be, some of your examples where you're using it as a verb are okay. They're grammatically correct, but you will rarely see that in English, okay? In Old English, we used it more as a verb, but in modern day language, we didn't. Yes, it is kind of like attempt, exactly. And it's not attempt because attempt might mean that you're not succeeding. It can be successful. It's think about it like what I set up here. It's a work effort. Okay. Here I'll give you another example. So I have an endeavor to help IELTS students around the world realize that they need to improve communication as well as language to score high bands on the exam. Okay, so there's another example for you with endeavor. I have an endeavor to help IELTS students around the world realize that they need to improve communications as well as language to score high bands on the IELTS exam. So that would be another one with endeavor. So notice again, I'm using it as a noun. It's something that I can have. Okay, I can have an endeavor. I can have a work effort. All right, Hadil says, my husband is an ER doctor. His endeavor is to reduce serious injuries. It's a very important is that's missing after endeavor, okay, Hadil? So my husband is an ER doctor. His endeavor is to reduce serious injuries of people who are hurt, and that is one of the most decent jobs around the world, okay? It was a huge endeavor to get better IELTS band score. That's a good example, Manushi. That's natural English. Now you guys are getting it, often mixed with the verb have. That's right. Okay. Yep, that's another good one, Mohammed. While migrating to Canada, my boss has greeted me for my future endeavor. That's good as well. Okay. Great. So then, of course, you paraphrase. Here we go. Can somebody paraphrase my example? My endeavor to conquer Mount Everest failed because of a blizzard, so I had to return to base camp. Can somebody paraphrase this sentence with me using some grammar, synonyms, antonyms, phrasal verbs, and so on? Can somebody? Yes, I know that, Hadil. Yeah, I was checking that out, so that's fine. That's good. It's good to correct yourself, good to try again. All right, can somebody paraphrase my sentence? Again, use grammar. Remember, you can rotate the independent and dependent clause, so you can switch them around. You can use phrasal verbs, expressions, descriptions. So can somebody do that for me, please? Can somebody paraphrase? Not the second one, guys, the first one. My endeavor to conquer Mount Everest failed because of a blizzard, so I had to return to base camp. Please, just the first one, okay? Just forget. The second one I just gave as a second example. What does blizzard mean? Good question. Blizzard, as some of you know, is one of the largest, or actually it is the largest video game company in the world. EA Sports and Blizzard are the two largest video game companies in the world. Yeah, it's an ice storm or a snowstorm. It doesn't have to be ice, it can be snow. It's a snowstorm. That's right, ice or snowstorm. So therefore, you can paraphrase with that. Really, the best place to check out what you need to do to immigrate to Canada or emigrate to Canada is go to the Immigration Canada website. It's very well detailed there. Okay. All right, guys, still waiting on that paraphrase for this first sentence. My attempt to claim Mount Everest failed because I was not able to conquer my endeavor. Yeah, it's a little bit off mark, Mohammed. Instead of completing my endeavor to climb Mount Everest, I returned to base camp and waited out the snowstorm. That's pretty good, Saeed. I like it. It's not exactly the same, but it's 90% close. My efforts, keep the original word, so keep the word endeavor, AJ. My efforts to climb Mount Everest, not Mr. Everest, was unsuccessful since ice blast happened, so I returned to base camp. Okay, yeah, that's not bad. Here we go. So, since there was a powerful snowstorm, my endeavor to triumph over Mount Everest failed. What's another way to say failed? Anybody? Help me out here. What's another way to say failed? Antonym negative. Was yeah, there we go. Thanks, AJ. Unsuccessful. So since there was a powerful snowstorm, my endeavor to triumph over Mount Everest was unsuccessful. So I went back, same as return, phrasal verb, to Camp 1. Is an interesting synonym for base camp. Okay. All right, so that's vocabulary learning. That's what you need to do. You need to make it interesting, and then, of course, remember to review. Now, let's go back to the listening here. That's the focus of today's lesson. And again, just a quick reminder for those of you who are joining us recently, the materials are coming from aehelp.com, our website for academic IELTS. Please go there. Join us. It is definitely worth your time and investment to help you. We have a very, very high satisfaction rating among students. Almost everybody without fail tells us that when they use our course, they are happy that they spent the money and the time. All right, so I believe we need to jump to page 101. Let's see. Yep. Okay, so this is our exam book 1. And we are looking at the third test from our exam book 1. It says test 2 because our test number 1 is labeled as a review test. So in the earlier class today, guys and girls, if you weren't here, that's okay. These live streamed lessons are recorded and then we upload them to our YouTube channel about 1 hour after it's finished. So you can check it out there. And we did test 2, section 1 and section 2 in the earlier class today. So we are going for section 3 now. Okay, so here we go. Here's section 3 of the listening. And when you're in the official IELTS, you have some time to review the questions for before each section or the start of each section, make sure that when you get the review time to review this section, make sure that that's what you're doing. Make sure that you're reviewing the questions and you're not looking at the previous section. One of the big mistakes that students make is the audio says, okay, that is the end of section 2. Now you have some time to review the questions for section 3. And then you have 30 seconds to review questions for section 3. What some students do is they keep looking at their answers for section 2 and thinking, oh, maybe I can get one more right, or I didn't understand that question, so I'm going to spend a little bit more time and try to figure it out and try to guess it. And then suddenly, now listen to the audio for section 3, and you haven't looked at any of the questions for section 3. That's really bad, okay? Don't do that. Please do not waste your review time looking at the previous section. You have some time to review your answers at the end of the listening and also at the end of each section. Use that time. Don't use the time to review the questions for the next one, okay? If you don't do that, you're going to miss some of those questions. Even if you're a native speaker, it's really important to review the next set of questions in that chance, okay? All right, this is section 3, and you're reviewing the questions. Now, when you're reviewing the questions in that time, in that 30 seconds, what should you do? Anybody know what you should do in that review time? It's actually closer to 20 seconds. What should you do? Yeah, that's right. So, Char and Meet, I'm pretty sure you were watching our earlier class. And yeah, you need to paraphrase, especially key words. So, read the questions and answers. Now, this is where you skim read, okay? You don't have enough time to read every word very clearly, but skim read. Read the questions and answers. Focus on key nouns and verbs and paraphrase them in your mind or on paper at home before the test. Okay, so during the test, of course, you don't have enough time to write everything down, so you're just doing the paraphrasing in your mind, but to practice for this so you can be quick and efficient, you're doing it at home before the exam for 90 days, practicing paraphrasing on paper. Okay, so paraphrasing your mind, and then what else can you do? So what else can you do other than just paraphrasing the key words like verbs and nouns? We'll do that in a moment. What else should you do when you're reading these questions in the preparation time? What's another step that you should take? Anybody? Assuming the answers is okay, don't put too much effort into that, Shabam. So yeah, you can try to guess, especially the obvious ones, but don't put too much effort into that, guys. There's something else that you should do a little bit more. That's right, AJ. You should visualize. So based on the content of the questions, visualize. And by visualizing, so by trying to see that information in your head, you need to predict the conversation or predict the information. Not necessarily the answer, but the information. Okay, be careful predicting answers because you can be off mark as well. So visualize the content of the questions and answers and predict the monologue or dialogue. Hopefully everybody knows monologue means a speech, like a lecture. A dialogue means a conversation. Mono means one person speaking. Di means two people speaking. So monologue lecture. Okay, so that's what you're trying to do. All right, that's your goal. That's what your aim is. That's what you're trying to get to. All right. So let's do that now with our sample. Okay, here it is. Okay, write no more than 2 words and or a number. Always pay close attention to the instructions of the question. Sometimes students make mistakes. When it says no more than 2 words and or a number, it's a very good chance that at least 1 or 2 of the answers need 2 words to get the full score, okay? If the answer is red apple and you write only apple, it's wrong. Even if you argue, well, hey, I said apple, they said it's an apple, but no, they said it's a red apple, okay? Then you need red apple, not just apple. All right, so if it's 2 words and or a number, good chance some of it will be 2 words. Let's have a look. All right, 21. If an Egyptian's income was 10,000, how much would be given to the pharaoh? Okay, what's a key word in this sentence? So what is a key word in this sentence, in this question? Income, sure. So how can we say income? What's another way to say income? Salary, revenue, yep. So think of as many as possible. So salary, revenue. What's another way? Starts with an E. Wage is good too. Pay is okay. So pay, wage. What else? Earning, that's right. Okay, so all of these words should be popping up in your head when you're doing this review. How much would be given to the pharaoh? What's another important word we can paraphrase here? Yeah, tax is a good word to think of here. Remuneration is a good word to I wouldn't paraphrase pharaoh because a pharaoh is a pharaoh. Even though it is a kind of a king or emperor, you're probably going to hear the word pharaoh used, okay? I would say that given is a good one to paraphrase. Verbs, be very careful of verbs. Verbs are good to paraphrase. What's another way to say given? What do you think? Yeah, that's right, Mohammed. I agree. There's a very good chance that you're going to hear the word paid or paid to. Yeah, absolutely. Given to, paid to. Yeah, I would say paid is a good one. All right, 22. The first reason mentioned for taxes is. What do you think is something that we want to paraphrase here? The first reason mentioned for taxes is. What is a good word for 22? I don't think so. I don't think the first reason is important to paraphrase here because that's probably not in the listening. Which word here is in the audio, do you think? I think there's only one word from this number 22 that you will see in the audio. That's right, Mohammed. Again, very nice. I would say taxes. This word should be in the audio for sure. And a good way to paraphrase this, as Mohammed is saying, is a tariff. Okay? A tariff is another way to say tax. So that is definitely a nice word to think about if you can get that. A levy is also a good word to think about. Very good. Levy was thrown up there by Muhammad Wahab as well. So good. Nice paraphrasing there. So levy. Yeah. I agree. Taxes, tariffs, levy. Those are great. All right. Number 23. The second reason for taxes known as something takes money from the rich and gives it to the poor. So we already have the words tariff and we already have the words levy, so we don't need to double up. So you don't need to think about the word taxes again, okay? It's not important because you've already done it for the previous question. What else could we try to paraphrase in our mind as we're doing this? Okay? What else is a good idea to paraphrase for number 23? I wouldn't try to generalize, so I wouldn't try to say something like charity, Makran. Ashraf, very good. Yeah, I would say rich is a good one. Okay, so what's another way to say rich? What is a different way? That's right side, wealthy. Yeah, so it's a very good chance that in the audio, you're going to hear the word wealthy instead of rich. So the money is taken from the wealthy and given to the poor. What's another way to say poor? Obviously, poor would be a good one to paraphrase. What's a different way to say poor? Underprivileged. Yeah, underprivileged, sure. It's very complex. You might not hear that, but it's possible. It's not PC these days either. The needy, yeah. The impoverished. Okay, the impoverished. Impoverished, underprivileged, the needy, and so forth. Good. So that's what you would hear, absolutely. Okay. Now, that's what you need to do in your listening exercise at home, all right? So when you're at home and you're practicing listening, this is what you want to do, and you want to write it down for all of the questions. I'm not going to do it right now for all of the questions. I think you get the idea. So right now, I'm going to review the remaining questions with you and try to paraphrase at home. Does everybody have a piece of paper and a pencil ready in front of you? Something to write with? Guys and girls and guys? You have a pencil, piece of paper to write with. You're looking at this. And of course, those of you who have our course, please print these exams. So when you're following these live lessons and you joined our full course at aehelp.com or glshelp.com, you can print out the test, the exam, and then you can use the actual exam in front of you while I'm doing the live teaching. So I see that a lot of you have paper and pencil available. That's great. So now I'm just going to review these. I'm going to go through a little bit faster. I'll do a little bit of work here, so follow with me, and then we'll actually listen to the audio and answer the questions, okay? So this is me sitting in the exam, working through these questions. So complete the following chart. Write the correct letter A to F next to the question 24 to 26. So product, revenue, alcohol, redistribution, repricing, general goods, production. So in my mind, I have words like income, okay, alcohol is booze, redistribution is to give back out, so give out, repricing is new price, general goods is merchandise, okay, production, manufacturing. All right, so I'm just going quickly with those. And again, you only have 30 seconds. It's not a lot of time, so you have to keep going. I'm just doing this in my mind. I wrote that down for you so you can see it a little bit, but we're going to keep going. Questions 27 to 29. Which three of the following are arguments given in favor of lower taxes, so less tariffs? Write three correct letters, A to F. It's easier to make money when you're already rich. Businesses will leave the country if taxed too harshly. Inheriting money requires no hard work. A country must be able to stay competitive in the global market. A worldwide tax structure can be implemented. Lower taxes in the end end up benefiting everyone, including the poor. Okay? So I've read the listening part 3. Now, a quick question before we listen. What is this going to be about? So I'm visualizing this, I'm seeing this in my mind. What is this about? So what do you think this listening section is about? Somebody tell me what you think this listening. Yes, that's right, Emaine. Good first jump out of the gate there. Absolutely. Taxes and tariffs. Yeah, we can tell that this is going to be about taxes. So I'm thinking about all the information that I know about taxes and tax structure, and of course, what, why, how. What are taxes? Why do we have taxes? How do they work? So I'm using this kind of critical thinking as quickly as possible to prepare my brain for this subject, okay? So it's about taxes, and about more than just taxes, it's also probably about the history of taxes, right? Why do I know that? Because in the beginning, it starts with the Pharaoh and Egypt. So I'm guessing that that's because it's, the listening will tell me about the start or the beginning of taxes and then all the way to modern day. So it's going to tell me what are taxes, why do we have taxes, and how taxes work. So I can kind of get that from these questions, okay? So, all right, now we're prepared and we're ready to listen and get a good score. Awesome. So let's jump to the actual website here. There we go. Okay, and then everybody's ready. I'm going to start up the listening here real quick. So again, this is what our website looks like. When you log in, you have a My Student account. In your My Student account, you have lots of resources to help you with IELTS. You have a full course. You have 6 practice exams, a student workbook. You have all of the audio CDs for every exam, including reading and speaking as well. You have 40 lesson videos that are high definition, professionally recorded. You can find speaking partners. You can ask for speaking lessons through Skype with teachers, including me. And you have all of the audio CDs here, which we're going to use right now. So is everybody ready to listen to this, this section? Everybody ready? Give me some thumbs up. Give me some yeses. Then I know you're ready. Awesome. Okay, looks like most of you are ready to go, ready to rock and roll. Here we go.
Battery, 60%.
21 to 26. Time to look at questions 21 to 26. Listening section 3. You will hear a public forum discussion between the moderator and 2 contributors, Dr. Philip McPhee and Dr. Ron Tatum, both political scientists at the local university, talking about the nature of taxes in society. Now listen carefully and answer questions 21 to 26.
First of all, I would like to thank Dr. McPhee and Dr. Tatum for taking time out of their busy lives to spend this evening with us.
Thank you for having us.
Dr. McPhee, could you give us a little bit of the history of taxation?
Certainly. Taxes have been around almost as long as civilization itself. There are records of taxes being collected by Egyptian pharaohs approximately 5,000 years ago. It was customary to give 20% of your production to the pharaoh, and those who evaded taxes were severely punished.
Dr. Tatum, what are the reasons for taxes?
Well, there are essentially 3 major reasons for taxes. The first and most obvious reason is revenue. Governments need money, and taxes fulfill this need. The government then spends this tax revenue on investments that are good for society, such as healthcare, schools and roads. Funding the army would fall under this category as well. The second reason for taxation is for the redistribution of wealth. In simpler terms, this means taking money from the rich and giving it to the poor. Many societies do this out of a belief that it is the responsibility of the government to look after the poor people in society. I'll let Dr. McPhee talk about the final reason for taxation, called repricing.
Thank you, Dr. Tatum. Yes, the third main reason for taxation is called repricing, and by this we mean changing the price of a product to a different, generally higher price. This may sound quite strange, but if you bear with me, you'll see that it makes perfect sense. In general, products are allowed to be priced in a free market. That is to say, whoever can provide goods for the lowest price is the most successful. However, there are certain types of goods that we don't allow to go to the free market. In many countries, these are goods like tobacco and alcohol. These goods are subject to a repricing tax, which is used to discourage people from using the product. Also, these repricing taxes help offset the future medical costs associated with the people who use tobacco and alcohol excessively.
You now have some time to look at questions 27 to 30. Now listen to the rest of the discussion and answer questions 27 to 30.
Very well. Do you favour higher or lower taxes?
I am a strong proponent of higher taxes. The reason for this is simply that it is easier to make money when you already have money. This gives a massive advantage to those people who may have inherited money or come from rich families, because money is so much easier to gain for these people if used wisely. Taxing them seems only fair and for the greater good. This compensates the poorer sections of society who really have little or no hope to gain financial success.
I understand Dr. Tatum's position, but one has to be wary of the fact that if taxes are too high for businesses, then those businesses will leave the country in favour of countries with lower taxes. Of course, it would be nice if we could legislate a worldwide tax structure, but this is simply not attainable. And I'm sure by the time it becomes attainable, companies will likely have opportunities to leave for another planet with more favourable tax structure.
Yes, you're right, Dr. McPhee. We must always be mindful of staying competitive. It is like a tightrope we must walk between compensating those less fortunate and being able to stay competitive in the market. Because if we fail to be competitive, then tax revenue will dry up, resulting in no money at all for the lower economic classes. So this is an extremely difficult balancing act.
Which leads to my next question. What is the future of taxation?
I believe you will see higher taxes in 50 years than there are today, just as we have higher taxes today than 50 years ago. We will need even more money for projects like high-speed transit, new roads, new technologies. Also, with an ageing population, medical costs could soar in the near future, resulting in higher taxes to support this healthcare system.
I think the future will be a lot like the present, walking the tightrope as Dr. Tatum mentioned. Where that takes us, I'm not sure. If I had to guess, I'd say higher taxes for the reasons Dr. Tatum outlined. However, another important variable to consider is whether free markets can really be...
That is the end of section 3. You will now have half a minute to check your answers.
Okay, so now you have half a minute to check your answers. This is the time that you should use to check your answers. Once this half minute is up, then be finished, stop, and look at the next section, okay? The second opportunity to check answers will be when you transfer your answers to the answer sheet, but do not use the review time for the next section, as I said before, okay? So let's look at the questions again. Again, these are all coming from our website, so you can go there to review these once you sign up and you get all of our products and so forth. So let's have a look at these questions, and then we'll go through them one at a time and get the answers. Okay, so here's the first one. If I'm an Egyptian and my income was 10,000, how much would I give to the Pharaoh? What was the answer for number 21? It's not 20%, guys and girls. It's 2,000. Emaine is right. So sometimes, especially for sections 2 and 3, you have to do some simple math in IELTS, okay? Again, IELTS is not just a test of English. It's also testing your thinking. So the audio says that the tax was around 20% in Egypt. So 20% of 10,000 means it's 2,000, okay? So 2,000 is the correct answer, all right? Number 21, the first reason mentioned for taxes is, what is it? So the first reason mentioned for taxes is number 22. That's right, it's revenue, okay? And you can use all capital letters like this. Revenue or income. It's best to write revenue here, so use the same word that IELTS used here. Use revenue. They will probably take income, but revenue is the best choice, all right? If you write lowercase, because this is the last word in the sentence, it should be all lowercase like this. If you write a big R, they may not take it because it is not a proper noun, okay? All right, number 23, the second reason for taxes known as what? Takes money from the rich and gives it to the poor. Saeed, nice. That's W. Saeed's got it. It's 2 words, remember, 2 words and or a number. So redistribution is wrong because it's only 1 word. It's got to be wealth, redistribution. Okay? If you're missing the word wealth, it's wrong. So you need the word wealth to get this score. Okay? Redistribution is not enough. It's wealth redistribution. All right? You need both words. Remember, 2 words and or a number. That should right away make you think that one of these 3 has to be at least 2 words, all right? In this case, it's the third one. So wealth redistribution. Okay. So let's go to the next here. 24 to 26. Okay. So here's our flow chart. One of the professors explains how repricing works. It was repricing that was being explained here as a third reason for taxes. Number 24, what's the answer? A, B, C, D, E, or F for number 24? What's the correct letter? Yep, absolutely. Good job, guys. It is E. Okay, the answer here is E. It's general goods. So the professor says that general goods are allowed to go to the free market. So if you have a TV, apple, banana, and lots of other toothbrush, toothpaste, you're allowed to go to the free market with that and sell it at a competitive price, the best price possible. Now, number 25. What is number 25? Anybody? Yeah, B, alcohol. That's right. So number 25 is alcohol. Alcohol is not general goods. What is another bonus point here? What was another type of non-general goods? What was another one for 25? It's not here. It's not one of the choices, otherwise it'd be confusing, but there was another one that the professor mentions. Alcohol and, that's right, Sharon Meat, very good, tobacco. So these are the products that have special pricing and special tax structures. Anybody know why? So anybody know why countries have a special tax system for alcohol and tobacco? In the past, actually, and in some places in the world, there wasn't. So you go to one shop and a box of cigarettes is $2. You go to another shop and a box of cigarettes is $10. Why don't we have that anymore? Yes, one reason is because they're harmful, but actually the main reason is that humans get really crazy when these types of products don't have a set structure, like gasoline, for example, and they actually get into conflicts physically even. They'll burn down each other's stores. There's so much money in tobacco, gasoline, and alcohol that when different people offer them at different prices, then you get into what's called a price war. And people literally will become aggressive with each other and burn down each other's stores and shops and gas stations because the other gas station sells the gas for $1 cheaper on the liter. So to avoid this kind of civil unrest, the countries decided that it's much better to have a repricing tax. Okay, so number 26, subject to, and I just gave you the answer. It should be a pretty easy one, number 26, especially if you got B and you understood what was going on. Yeah, that's right, it's repricing tax. So that's the third reason for it, right? So it's B, E, and D, right? Okay, hope you got those correct. So E for 24, B for 25, D for 26. Okay, this was a little bit more difficult. It was quite fast. So which three of the following are arguments given in favor of lower taxes? It is easier to make money when you're already rich. Businesses will leave the country if taxed too harshly. Inheriting money requires no hard work. A country must be able to stay competitive in the global market. A worldwide tax structure can be implemented. Lower taxes in the end end up benefiting everyone, including the poor. So what are the three correct answers? And here, you can actually use logic. If you're paying attention to lower taxes, even if you didn't get the answers from the listening, you can still catch them here. Okay, D, a country must be able to stay competitive in the global market. That's right. So some of you are saying A, there wasn't that one there. F, good. A lot of you are saying F. I'm waiting to see who says what. So D and F are good. What is the other one? What's the last one? So D, F, and what's the final choice? Use your logic. There you guys go. Very good. B. So it's B, D, and F are the correct answers. And that makes sense logically. Okay? So B, D, and F. Businesses will leave the country if taxed too harshly. A country must be able to stay competitive in the global market, and lower taxes in the end up benefiting everyone, including the poor. It is a tough one, but again, guys, if you use your logic, you should have been able to get B, D, and F. Okay? Remember, this is part 3 of the listening, so of course it will be more difficult than part 1 and 2, no doubt. It will require more of your thinking and faster thinking. Okay, and then the last one, because that was so tricky, they tend to give you one easy one if the previous one was so difficult. This one should be pretty easy. What do the speakers believe about taxes in the future? The same, lower, or higher? And again, logic. What do you think will happen with taxes in the future? We all hope that they will be lower, but that's not the case. They will be higher. So the answer is C, okay? We hope for B, but unfortunately, it's most likely C, okay? We fight for B, but unfortunately, it's C. We won't get into politics and talking about that right now, but taxes seem to go up, 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 and up all the time. Okay, great job, everyone. Now, let's go right into listening section 4. Same thing. We are paraphrasing in our mind. I'm going to move through this nice and smooth, and then we will listen, so keep focused. Again, these materials are coming from gieltshelp.com, aehelp.com. And guys and girls, for those of you who are taking the general IELTS, it's the same. The listening section is the same level of difficulty. So get ready, okay? Make sure that you practice. Rughead, you said you need a lot of practice. Hey, sign up for a class sooner than later. Use the coupon code LIVE20. Use the materials there. Follow these live streaming lessons, and you will improve, okay? I'm really encouraging you. Yes, it's a sales pitch, but it's a sales pitch that's for your benefit. I'm not trying to sell you alcohol or tobacco. I don't want to cause you harm. I want to help you improve. I want you to become a better thinker, a better communicator. So that's why I'm pushing hard for everyone to join us and stay with us at least until you do your IELTS exam. Okay, so here is section 4, questions 31 to 40. Complete the flow chart below. So this is a flow chart type question. It's one of the common types of questions. Here we go. So, Isaac Newton, born in 1643, I would say 17th century. Okay. Studies at the King's School, Grantham from age, attends, would be a good one here. Just some quick paraphrasing in my brain. I'm just writing this down so that you're practicing. Leaves school, mother attempts to make him so mother tries to something. And then going up and up here. 1661, on the recommendation of his teachers, admitted to Trinity College in Cambridge. So admitted, enrolled. 6 years after beginning, Newton becomes a something there. Now, if I know about Newton, I probably know that he is a professor, a physicist, something like that. Sometimes my spelling goes out the window. But anyway, so a professor, a physicist there. So that's what I'm guessing. Okay, remember, I only have 30 seconds, so I'm moving along here quite fast. And then we have choose your answers from the box and write the letters A to D next to the questions 34 to 37. You may use any letter more than once. I'm paying attention to that instruction. Galileo, Newton, Descartes, and Leibniz, Einstein. Now, of course, if you know your famous people in history, hopefully you heard about some of these guys. Definitely I can start visualizing and predicting here that we are talking about famous scientists, especially what kind of scientists. So Galileo, Newton, Einstein, Descartes, and Leibniz, what kind of scientists were these people? Anybody? What kind of scientists were these people? Planets moved in either, so motion for moved. Developed a theory which was thought to replace the earlier theory of gravity. Formulated theory, hypothesis. Replace the earlier theory, previous for earlier. Okay, so I'm thinking of those kinds of paraphrasing. Physicists, medical scientists, space, that's right. So physics, astrology, or astronomy, physics, mathematics, and philosophy. These scientists were famous pretty much for all of these. So physics, mathematics, astronomy, and philosophy. Okay. All right. So in the experiment of the mind tells us the brilliant ball is smooth, something. used not mirrors but lenses in the construction of the telescope. Okay, so each of these is going to be one of these scientists. 38 to 39, write no more than 2 words and or a number for each. Telescopes with lenses cannot be built as large as telescopes with mirrors because large lenses tend to something. I can probably guess what that word is if I know a little bit about lenses and mirrors. Telescopes with mirrors take up less space because of their reduced something, okay? So I read it, I paraphrase in my mind as much as possible. What is this going to be about? So what will section 4 be about? Anybody? What am I predicting here? What am I going to be listening to? Can anyone tell me what I'm going to be listening to? Science, discoveries, yeah, absolutely. Science, scientists, and discoveries, especially these famous scientists, maybe some inventions along the way, some history about astronomy and physics. Absolutely, guys. Okay, so you're predicting this, you're visualizing this, a little bit of history of Newton, a little bit of history of Einstein. Absolutely. Okay. Great. Again, if this is a bit fast for you, if you're having trouble following, don't stress. This lesson is recorded. You can watch it again on the channel in about 2 hours after we're finished. So here we go. Everybody ready with their pencil and paper? I'm going to start up the audio for this. Is everybody ready with the paper and pencil? Ready to listen? All right, then here we go. Pay attention.
Now turn to section 4. Take some time to look at questions 31 to 40. Listening section 4. You will hear a lecture about English scientist Isaac Newton. Now listen carefully and answer questions 31 to 40.
Today we are going to discuss the life and achievements of the famous English scientist Sir Isaac Newton. Many consider Newton to be the most brilliant man to have ever lived, and many consider his achievements the greatest ever achieved by one man. Newton himself was not so sure, as he famously told his followers, "If I have seen further, it is by standing on the shoulders of giants." While it may be true that he built upon the foundation of scientists before him, he still managed to see further than anyone else had, and to this day his accomplishments stand the test of time. Isaac Newton was born in England in 1643. He studied at the King's School in Grantham from age 12 to 17. After leaving school, his mother tried to make him into a farmer, but that was not going to be sufficient for young Isaac. A year later, in 1661, on the recommendation of one of his teachers at the King's School in Grantham, Newton was admitted to Trinity College in Cambridge, where he eventually became a teacher 6 years later. Newton is perhaps most famous for his work on gravity. A well-known story says that Newton realized the nature of gravity while he was sitting under a tree and an apple fell on his head. This story may or may not be true, but the underlying principle is valuable. Newton made the astonishing discovery that the same force that makes an apple fall to the earth also makes the earth revolve around the sun and the moon revolve around the earth. Until this time, scientists such as René Descartes and Gottfried Leibniz had believed that the planets moved in some sort of matter, something they called an ether. Newton demonstrated that no such ether was required. Descartes and Leibniz also had little explanation for why apples fall to the earth. Newton's theory accounted for this almost perfectly. During the 20th century, Newton's theory came under attack by the German physicist Albert Einstein, whose theory of relativity was said to replace Newton's theory of gravitation. This is simply not true. Einstein's theory is a landmark achievement in science, but it did not replace Newton's theory, it merely improved it. To picture this, think of a smooth ball, perhaps a billiard ball. In this experiment of the mind, Newton tells us that the ball is smooth. However, Einstein says that the ball has small imperfections, dents, cuts, and scrapes. Who is right? The answer is both of them. Newton is correct on a macroscopic scale. When we look at the ball from a distance, the ball is smooth. However, Einstein is correct as well. The ball does have imperfections. He is correct on a macroscopic and a microscopic scale. Another of Newton's important achievements is the reflecting telescope. Previously, Galileo had used lenses to construct his telescope, but Newton was the first to use mirrors in a telescope. Today's telescopes are almost all made of mirrors as opposed to lenses, which again speaks to Newton's brilliance. There are a number of reasons the mirror is an improvement over the lens in telescopes. First, mirrors do not warp as easily as lenses do, and by that I mean that lenses can lose their shape in hot or cold weather quite easily. Second, telescopes with mirrors take up less space because of their shorter focal distance. Third, telescopes with mirrors can be built far larger because the mirrors themselves can be built larger. An achievement of Newton's that must not be overlooked is Newton's discovery of calculus. Although the discovery was not without controversy, Gottfried Leibniz also claims to have invented calculus at approximately the same time. Nobody really knows the truth, but it is accepted that they discovered it separately. In any case, it was a brilliant achievement by both scientists. Newton died in March 1727, and his body was laid to rest at Westminster Abbey in London, in a famous above-ground tomb. He was 84.
That is the end of section 4. You will now have half a minute to check your answers.
All right, so that's section 4, obviously the more difficult listening section. As IELTS goes, each section is more difficult than the previous. So the most difficult section of the listening is section 4, and that's looking for those high-level 8, 9 English speakers, so-called expert English users. And that's not just for ESL students, but also for native speakers. So again, that's coming from our website, which is here. And now we'll go over these questions one at a time and learn how you did. All right, so don't get discouraged if you found this difficult. That's okay. Again, even some native speakers would find section 4 tricky, okay? It requires a high level of active listening skill and communication, so don't stress about it, guys. I saw someone ask, I can't remember who it was, I think maybe Raya or maybe somebody else, not to write answers as the listening is going. Yeah, don't be too proud. Just wait, give everybody else a chance for their own answers also. So when we're doing these listening lessons, if you could wait with the answers until the end, just write them down on paper, that would be great. Okay, yeah, that was you, Manushi, that's right. All right, so here we go. Flowchart. Isaac Newton, born 1643. Some good facts to know in case you're sitting on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? And one of the multiple choice questions is, when was Isaac Newton born? Okay, so studies at the King's School in Grantham from the ages of what? Anybody catch those? 2 numbers. Yeah, and all you need is 12 and then comma. You don't have to write 2 because it's 2 words, okay? And 17. If you write 12 to 17, it's actually wrong. And yeah, we can hate IELTS for doing this, but it says 2 words or a number only. So the correct form is 2, 17. Commas are not counted as words, at, in, on, to are counted as words. They give you the word to, so do not write to in the answer sheet. Just 12 and 17, okay? That's all you need to write, all right? Yes, you could do a single space. So if you have a clear space between the two, that will be correct, but I definitely suggest the comma, okay? All right, leaves school. Mother attempts to make him a what? Isaac Newton almost became a what? Number 32. That's right, AJ, a farmer. History would be a little bit different if Isaac Newton had become a farmer. Thankfully, he didn't. He contributed a lot of useful science to humanity instead of contributing a lot of potatoes or corn. Not to undervalue the importance of farmers. I believe farmers are very, very valuable people in this world, especially with all of the genetically modified foods coming out of massive plantations. But Isaac Newton did not become a farmer. All right. 1661, on the recommendation of his teachers, he's admitted to Trinity College in Cambridge, one of the oldest universities in the world. 6 years after beginning, Newton becomes a what? That's right, a teacher. Good. Yeah, and you can write teacher, all small letters, or you can do teacher like this as well. Okay, so both of those are okay. Do not write like this, okay? So you might get it marked wrong if you have a capital T there. It's not a proper noun, so don't do that, all right? Teacher or teacher like that, okay? All right. Let's keep going. So 33 is teacher. Let's jump to 34. Believed that planets moved in an ether. Now, if you're using your logic, you can probably guess this, especially if you know who the oldest of these scientists were. Descartes is the oldest. He lived in the 1400s. So the correct answer is C. Okay. 35. Developed a theory which was thought to replace the earlier theory of gravity. So who was the person that replaced, or so thought replaced, the theory of gravity? 35 is Einstein. Yeah, that's right. So Einstein came up with his own theory, and they believed, hey, maybe this theory might replace the theory of gravity. And for those of you who study physics now know that that's not true. Both of the theories are very important to physicists. All right, 35. In the experiment of the mind tells us the billiard ball is smooth. So experiment of the mind, billiard ball is smooth. Yeah, we don't have an E, so E would be difficult. Thanks for the correction. Hand and brain sometimes do different things. So in the experiment of the mind tells us the billiard ball is smooth. That's right, that's Newton. So Newton sees the ball from far away, and when you look at the ball from far away, it's nice and smooth, just like the Earth, right? If you're looking at the moon looks like it's nice and smooth when you're looking at it from Earth. But if you're close to the moon, you realize that the moon is anything but smooth, right? So Newton's theory says that the ball is smooth. Einstein says that the ball is not. All right, 37, used not mirrors but lenses in the construction of the telescope. "37 is A. That's right, Galileo. Galileo was one of the first to construct the telescope. He's very famous for that. He used lenses, right? The lens that's round, like a camera lens. Careful with this word here, not mirrors, okay? It's not mirrors, all right? The word is not mirrors, okay? Mirrors, that's Newton, not mirrors, but lenses, okay? So they're trying to give you a lot here, not mirrors, but lenses. Got to go with Galileo, okay? Newton was mirrors, that's more modern science. All right. Again, if you know your sciences, that will help. That's why I always suggest to IELTS students it's a good idea to read some high school physics, chemistry, biology books, because when you read, especially for the academic IELTS students, if you read your grade 11, grade 12 chemistry, biology, physics books, that will really help you, history books, that will really help you with the IELTS, okay? So the correct answers are C, D, B, and A. All right, 38 to 39. Telescopes with lenses, again, 2 words and or a number, pay attention. Telescopes with lenses cannot be built as large as telescopes with mirrors because large lenses tend to what? Yeah, lose shape, sure, or warp. Lose shape or warp would be okay. So 1 word warp or 2 words lose shape. Okay? Telescopes with mirrors take up less space because of their reduced, what's the word here? Not lose shape, but lose shape, okay? That's right. Yeah. Yeah, lose. Focal distance. Definitely need both words there. Focal distance. Okay? Focal distance. Absolutely need both there. Focal length or focal distance. Both are okay. Both are okay. All right. Next one. And last question here. Which statement is true? Newton and Leibniz discovered calculus together. Newton and Leibniz discovered calculus separately during the same time period. Newton and Leibniz discovered calculus separately while working at the same university. A, B, or C? Yeah. B. Discovered calculus separately during the same time period. We don't know who was first, but definitely they discovered. Manushi, 8 out of 10 on section 4 is a very good score. 9 out of 10 is an excellent score. If you're getting anything more than 5, guys and girls, on section 4, that's great. Okay, anything over 5 is fantastic. You should not be shy and sad about that, okay? A 36 out of 40 is excellent, Shubham. That's a great score, all right? So anything over 5 on section 4 is a good one. If you're over 50% on section 4, that's great, all right? For section 1 and 2, you should be aiming for 8 out of 10. For section 3, you should be aiming for 6 to 7. For section 4, you should try to get at least 5, 6, okay? All right, guys and girls. So again, that's from gieltshelp.com and ahelp.com. Now, when you have our books at the end there, you can see the explanations at the back of the book. They're somewhere back here. We have the answer keys here. So there's your test 2 answer keys for the listening section. In our answer keys, you can see that we have the time. So it actually shows you what time the answer is coming from. Okay. That's very useful. You can go back and listen to the exact time of the answer. And then we have our transcripts as well. So after we show you the time, then you have the transcripts. And in the transcripts, it shows you where answers are coming from for that section of the test, okay? So there's a lot of good, useful information there, and you can use these transcripts for some learning exercises also. Okay, guys and girls, that is it for today. The next class will be on Wednesday, okay? So classes are, live streaming classes are Wednesday to Sunday. Next class starts on Wednesday at which will be the 28th at 12 p.m. Central European time. Okay. Wednesdays and Thursdays, there's only one class. Okay, so if you miss that class, you can watch it on the YouTube channel after, but we only have one class Wednesday, Thursday. So keep that in mind. One class Wednesday and Thursday, and two classes from Friday to Sunday. Okay. Just like we did now. So that's how we're going to keep going. Again, if you want to really follow these classes effectively, I highly suggest paying a few dollars at ahelp.com, gieltshelp.com, getting the book so that you can print the book at home and follow with the class. It's much more useful. You'll have 2 of these books. And you also have a lot of great content from our website at ahelp.com. That's for academic IELTS. You can find other students for speaking. You can find teachers for speaking practice interviews. And for general IELTS, make sure you're going to our general site, which is gieltshelp.com. Okay? That's it for today. Keep up the good practice. Don't forget the vocabulary practice, 3 to 5 new words each day. Much love, everyone. Have an awesome Monday and Tuesday. I will see you again on Wednesday. It has been great teaching you this week. It's our first week teaching out of Europe. It has been a ton of fun. The audio, the video are working great now, so we'll keep it going. We'll keep improving our equipment. I'll try to get some light on my face as well so that you guys can see me a little bit more clearly. All the best in your studies. Keep up the good work. We'll cheer for you to do the best in the IELTS possible and reach your goals and dreams. Have a wonderful rest of your day and a good start to your week. Much love. Bye for now.